They are the team that's struggling at the moment.
The end result's extremely disappointing, but more disappointing than that was a lack of effort and intent. It doesn't take much in this game to look second rate. We look third rate.
And the joy spreads for the Saints players and fans alike. And the prophets of doom hang over the Bombers. Oh my God, here's another one! They are kicking them from anywhere and everywhere. And Essendon are in all sorts. This is almost done. It's almost dusted. Saints lead by 44 points. They've kicked 8 goals in a row. Where are you, Essendon? They are completely rattled, the Bombers. And Bomber fans throwing their scarves away onto the ground in disgust. A huge win for Ross Lyon, but it's grim times at Windy Hill and at the Hangar. Forget winning a final. The Bombers have got a tough task to even make it to September. And that's the way it landed yesterday. It couldn't have been much more of a disappointing day for Essendon fans. It feels a bit like the same olds from the same olds, doesn't it really? It's tracking the same as last year. It's going to take a remarkable turnaround. They let St Kilda get away at the start. They fought all the way to get back and then really didn't offer too much after that. So as good as the Saints were, and we will get to that, the Bombers are the story out of the game.
Yeah, they are. It wasn't meant to be this way. You know, we were sort of looking at them at the mid-year point, and their defensive side of the game had improved. They'd made some changes structurally, and they look safer with their ball use coming out of the back half, and they play with more patience. It's gone now. And you just see what St Kilda were able to do to them and how quickly they look disorganised down back. And we've shown this vision last week, and we're going to show it again, because I still can't believe that Ben Mackay can allow himself to be pulled to the basically up to the football and put players in behind the ball that are really that shouldn't be there. There's no way that the ruckman should be going past Benny Mackay and ending up in that position. In space, this guy's a non-event. And I know his intercept numbers look really strong, and that to me is still referencing back shoulder and his ability to defend that way. They took 20 marks inside 50. 20 marks inside 50 St Kilda. St Kilda had scored 17 goals for the game. 100 points. I think they've done that 5 times in the last 50-odd games or 60 games. So it's a real worry. I don't know where you go to from here. Now, obviously Ridley went off injured as well, so that compounded their problems even more. But St Kilda just don't do this to teams. They don't do this. They've never done this. It just looks so fragile. And I look at Cox and I think, what's your position in this team? Like, where are you going to finish your career? Where are you going to play? Because he just looks lost wherever they put him. So they put him behind the ball, given the injury status of Ridley, and nothing changes. And Ben Mackay never releases to help, and when he does, he gets it wrong. I don't know where they start to correct this. It's not a confidence issue, I don't think. This is a structural problem.
So you think more than that, than the expectations and all those other things, the pressure that's on them?
Every player has got the pressure.
No, they
and
do,
every
but
team
Essendon carry that baggage, and don't they? It feels like that's affected them. I don't know why to such a degree.
But this falls off alarmingly.
Yeah.
Like it just lacks foundation. There's no consistency with the back six at all.
Yep.
We showed it last Thursday, and we were blown away by how it looked. And then I said, let's have a look on the weekend, because they got St Kilda. That, there's no King there. They'll be fine. It couldn't be further from the truth. Yeah. So I don't know where Brad starts with this.
Yeah, well, I've been trying to figure out the Bombers for a number of weeks. I remember showing vision against the Melbourne game. They're lacking something, and I think this year's going to head down to the same path of all the others. Talk about nice football clubs with Adelaide. It just seems like it's still a nice football club at Essendon. There are too many nice footballers in this team that aren't ruthless enough. And I just pulled out. So at the 12-minute mark of the second quarter, Harry Jones kicked the goal, and they were 2 points up. Yep. From that point on, and they were winning the contested ball. They were +7, I think, at that stage. From that point on, they went -24 contested possession. And these are some of their senior players, how much contested ball they won in over 2 quarters of footy. Now, Archie Perkins came on at half-time as the sub, and he's probably the youngest one. But, he's played over 60 games of footy as well. And you just wonder, you think about, what is it about Essendon? And it made me wonder about the edge. Remember, we spoke a lot about the edge, and I think we've seen enough football this year to go, was that just propaganda? Like, is the edge a real thing? Because there are so many nice players. They're going to have nice careers. There's going to be a lot of them in this team that are going to play 150, 200 games and have a nice resume. But they're not going to get the success they want unless they become ruthless enough. Ruthless defensively, ruthless on each other, ruthless when the game's up for grabs. And I've been watching it. We've been looking at all these games on Friday nights against Melbourne and Carlton, and games they couldn't finish. And they need to look at each other and do what Zach Merritt's done and go to another level with their ruthless approach. And it's the reason why, Sam Durham has become this beacon of light. what? Because he has the edge. He's one of only a few Essendon players you look at and go, he plays with that edge that they told us about at the start of the year. So it's heading down a similar path. They've got to do some soul searching, I think, more about what they want to get out of their careers, because otherwise it'll just be nice.
They're going to have to do some list searching now too, aren't they? They're going to have to really examine that and work out what they do and try and change the mix-up.
It can't be the whole list. This is my point, though. It can't be the whole list, can it?
It's got to, the list is what it is. You can't change it. It's got to be cultural. It's got to be with each other.
That's a 10-year process if you think it's to change the whole list.
Well, it's kind of, I mean, I don't disagree with you, but what else can they do? Obviously, they can do what you're talking about, but their midfield's pretty...
No, demand more.
Look inward and,
Hold selection to a premium. If you won't do this for us, you're not playing. I don't care what you earn or what draft pick you were. These are the non-negotiables for playing for Essendon. And the edge is all part of that. Having a crack, because the fans turn up, and credit to them, they walk away disappointed and really angry with what they're seeing, because they are much better than this. They don't worry about the talent, they're fine. There's no way St Kilda should beat them like that, talent for talent. No way in the world. So they've got to get it right. And it's not necessarily Zach Merritt's fault.
No.
It's the rest of the leaders that hide in the shadows behind the fact that they're not front and centre. They're not pushed out in front of the media. Well, I'd push them all out this week. And I'd say, go and tell them what we're doing. Go and take some responsibility for where this club's at, because it can't be the same guys who I think are fighting the fight in the main. But it's guys like Mackay, Ridley, Laverty, Martin.
There's a lot of them. Langford,
all of them behind the ball.
There's heaps. McGrath, there's a lot of them in there, yeah. And I think and they don't all have to turn and play like Michael Voss, but even defensively to close the gap, to not allow 120 uncontested marks and work with each other and support and voice. So there's a bit there to work with.
Well, you mentioned the Bombers fans turned up. You could sense the frustration there yesterday, and at least one of them went home without their scarf, as we saw. Well, the Saints, the forward line, Joey, and we saw how they spread the goals, which was great. Cooper Sharman was unbelievable. But what did you like about what they did and how they did it?
It was impressive how efficient they were going inside 50, but we've been trying to bang on for this for half a year to try and educate the supporters about St Kilda. It's not so much their ball movement that's been the issue this year. Their ball movement from the back half has been very good. It's their ability to score from the front half has been what's held them back. They've been the worst team in the competition, either scoring from a stoppage or from a turnover in the front half of the ground, where you get more than half your score. And you can just see in the last 4 weeks how that's significantly improved, and that's why their scoring has gone through the roof. They haven't done anything different from their back half, and all of a sudden Ross Lyons released the shackles and off they go. No, it's been off the back of being able to score from stoppage, which they haven't been really able to do, and to be able to convert when they win the ball back in the forward half. And they had a great spread of options inside 50. It looked great, and they all cashed in.
They're a pretty poor clearance, score from clearance team.
Horrible.
Averaged about 23 points. They kicked 8 goals. It was a remarkable numbers day from a Saints point of view, and they've been waiting for it, and well deserved.